Hey, what's up, everybody? Michael Richards here with Elite Athletic Performance. I figure what time better than now. Everybody's got a little extra time on their hands. I'd always wanted to do a series of vlogs to explain a few things, some frequently asked questions. So here we are. Hopefully everybody's staying safe out there. So when I'm having a discussion with a lot of my baseball coach friends, guys that have played, previously and things like that, one of the topics that usually comes up is strength training for baseball players, things like that. And eventually, especially if the person just doesn't quite agree with me on the amount of strength that is needed, this will usually come up. So if lifting weights is so important, why aren't power lifters the best athletes? And that is a really good question. That shows that the person has been thinking and going down the rabbit hole. And I'll explain why it doesn't hold water, but it is a very good line of thought. I see where you're going with that. So the reason for that is because power lifters do not utilize the speed strength continuum the same way that we do. All right. So what in the world is the speed strength continuum? Good question. So I'll explain that to you. Now, and I'm going to get more into this in a little bit. I always have to preface this by saying, if you have a beginner athlete, all of this stuff is irrelevant. And if you haven't watched my video about strength cups, click over to YouTube, watch search EAP Discussions strength cup, and watch that video. That will explain, like, say if you're a parent watching this and you've got a beginner athlete, hadn't been in the weight room much, that's going to be much more relevant. But this topic is probably interesting to you. You may have had this thought before too, so it's not like you can't watch this video, but just understand that there is a certain level of strength that has to be obtained before this becomes super relevant. But anyways, power lifters, it really boils down to goals. All right, so a power lifter's goal is to pick up the heaviest bar possible, period. That is their goal. That's how they win their competitions. There's nothing wrong with that. It's pretty cool, like I don't see myself competing in powerlifting competitions, in meets, but I've studied a lot of what they do, and it's definitely a very driven community. It's pretty cool how driven they are and determined they are, but understand that their goals are different than ours. Now, if there is by chance a power lifter or somebody who is well versed in the powerlifting community, first off, please don't come at me about this conjugate method stuff. Like, if you don't use the conjugate method, that's fine. I don't need to hear why you do or don't. I don't care that much. But most powerlifters use some type of conjugate method, which to the laymen that are watching this video, it doesn't matter. You don't care. But basically, they have speed days and they have max effort or strength days, what I call strength days. So yes, they do utilize some speed work. What is speed work in their training? But that's just basically the speed of the barbell. And for a host of reasons, they do that. But it's not like they do that and then go jump a bunch of boxes and do change of direction type things or lateral jumps and focus on that type of stuff that you would do for a traditional athlete. They move the bar fast on their speed days, and they move the weight fast, because if you can move a weight fast, then you are strong, right? And because their goal, again, is to move weight as efficiently as possible. That's their ultimate goal. So bottom line, the reason that this line of thought doesn't hold water is, with a traditional athlete, the ultimate goal is to get to the center of the continuum. This is the part if there's one thing you take from this video, it's this. A traditional athlete is trying to we got to get them right here, right there in the center. You want a good mixture of speed and a good mixture of strength, right? Because that's how they stay healthy. You can't be speedy, you can't be fast if you're don't have a certain level of strength. Powerlifters are trying to get as far to the right as possible. That is where the breakdown happens. That's where this falls apart, right here. They are not concerned they honestly aren't that concerned with staying healthy. Like I said, they are a very driven community. If they're miserable, but in pain all the time, but they can pick up the most weight, they're happy. And for the most part, not trying to lump them all together, but that's pretty, they're an amazing community. So, like I said, that's where this all kind of breaks down. So just whenever you think about that, that's, their type of training takes them on purpose over here to this side of the continuum, whereas a traditional athlete is trying to have a balance of all of this stuff. So while we're having this discussion, where does this disconnect come from? Because if you have somebody asking this question, they are at least questioning whether they agree with the amount of strength training that an athlete does, or whether it's an athlete that comes here, or if it's a coach that is trying to figure out why his guys need to be in the weight room, or whatever. So here's the deal, and this is really where this disconnect comes from. I don't think the normal, what I say normal, people that aren't in the strength and conditioning world, I don't think they realize, the strength cup, that part, and like I said, watch that video, but I don't think people realize how long it takes to make an athlete strong enough, quote, to where they can really focus on some of the other cooler looking stuff, right? It's a long process. I heard Kelly Starrett say one time, which his book, Becoming a Supple Leopard, which is a really weird name, but it's basically a book about mobility and strength training and things like that. And the point of the name of the book is to move like a leopard. If you watch a leopard move, they're very graceful and very fluid, and that's an athletic animal, right? And I was listening to an interview with him one time, and he said he had a guy ask him, like, man, how do I get strong? How do I get my squat strong? I've been trying, and and he said, man, just squat heavy twice a week for the next 10 years and you'll figure it out. And that's really what it boils down to. You don't get strong in 6 months. You don't get strong in a year, really, unless you're really doing everything right. It just takes a long time. So a lot of people, when they're looking like on social media and they see, every day our athletes come in, there's not many days they don't lift weights. Except for just a few exceptions. They're like, man, that's all those people do up there is lift weights. Well, the reason for that is, it's not that I'm just forcing them into it because that's what I want to do or whatever. It's because young athletes need it more desperately than anything else they do, because their strength levels are so low. Their strength cups are so small. So hopefully that answers some of those questions. I'm sure I missed something, but if there's at least... If this helped you, maybe give it a share or whatever. But, if you have any more questions, ask it in the comments, or email or DM or whatever. Just whatever you want to do. So hopefully that helped. Thanks for watching.